WhatsApp group. I know it's a bit late at this stage, but if you haven't joined it yet and you would like to join it, you are more than welcome to join that WhatsApp group. And please send your module code, name and surname to that number. It will allow me to save your number and allocate you to the correct WhatsApp group. So if I don't have those details, the module code and your name, I won't be able to do that allocation. So it's very important. Then one-on-one consultations. Time is running out. Resources are a bit scarce, so we will try and accommodate everyone as far as possible, or we will arrange group sessions to accommodate that. But please just note that this is the Western Cape facilitation session. So on the one-on-one consultations at this stage, we will only be able to assist students that are registered in the Western Cape region. If you want to inquire about the one-on-one consultations, feel free to send me a WhatsApp. I will send you the UNISA link that you need to follow to log a query, and I can use that query then to get in contact with you and arrange a session. So that is the steps. You log a query, and then we make an arrangement to meet and discuss. Then just a final reminder, for the attendance register purposes, please copy your student number in the chat section. And then at the end of the session, I would appreciate it if you guys can please complete the session evaluation form. Okay, as indicated over the WhatsApp group, I've shared the question that we will be doing on the WhatsApp group. Guys, just a reminder that please check that your microphones are muted and that your video is Guys, I'm just going to repeat that. Please make sure that your microphones are muted and the video is turned off. What I will do is I will try and share the question that we will be doing also in the chat section. So if you open it, I'm going to try and upload the question for those that do not have it on WhatsApp. I'm not sure that it will work.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Hi, who's speaking?
It is Nwabisile. I've just joined the group, but when I try to put my student number, it says that I'm no more a participant. So now I don't know how to put my student number.
What you can do, are you part of the WhatsApp group?
No, I'm not part of the WhatsApp group. I was sent a link by a friend.
Okay, 100%. If you want, you guys can just send me a WhatsApp with the student number in.
Okay.
Over the WhatsApp number that I've shown.
Okay, I shall do that after the lesson.
100%. You guys, as I've indicated, okay, so I did, let me just post it. Okay, there I've posted the question that we will be doing. It says sending, not sure that it will be successful, but you can have a look at the chat section. So the first part of this session will be on a third year level, as I've said over WhatsApp. It will be a standard costing question, budgeting and standard costing at third year level. And then the second half will be the normal variance type questions, more on a second year level. So I'm splitting the two sessions. So you can benefit from it both. Guys, please, may I ask again, please make sure that your mics are muted. Thank you very much. Okay, and then also, please, this is a participatory session. I would love it for you guys to interact, ask questions. You can use the hand functionality on my Teams aren't always open on the screen, so I might not see that your hand is raised. So you can just unmute. And ask a question. I won't feel offended if you interrupt me at all. So just to put that out there, I hope everybody heard that. So if you want to ask a question, just unmute and ask the question. Okay, let's quickly, I'm just going to unshare and put up the question. Okay, guys, as you might have seen as you went through the question, the first question that we're going to be doing is quite an interesting one for me personally as well. It's something that you must really be ready in seeing in the exam. It's a combination. Remember, MANAC has got a lot of topics which can't always be examined on their own in the exam. So they like combining questions, which is extremely important for you to be familiar with. So don't wait until the day or two before the exam to start practicing exam questions. Practicing exam questions is probably the best way to make sure that you have a good grasp on what they can ask and the way they can ask it. So if I can give you a suggestion, take the past 5 years questions, exams, and you literally just copy the required. You don't need the information, you just want to see the required. And yet, looking at this required, we will go through it in detail now, you can already see that it's asking for the activity-based costing technique. Okay, it's calculating the budgeted contributions per tennis ball. It's talking price variances. There's volume contribution variances, mix variances, per sales mix variances per product. So we have your variances, your budget versus actual. There's a few items that they combine in this question. And question H for me is extremely important. I know it only counts 2 marks in this question. Management accounting is about giving advice to management in a way that they can make decisions. So that is the purpose of advice. So this question or this module, especially at 3rd year level, will ask you in most questions to give a lot of advice on various topics. It might actually make out an entire question. So very important. Feliciwe, your camera is on. Can you just please put off your camera? Anyway, moving on. So yeah, very important that you guys understand that. So for those that have got the question, let's quickly go through it and just familiarize ourselves with the content. So there's a tennis ball Pty Limited. Tennis ball Pty Limited currently makes use of the direct costing system. The company manufactures and sells 2 types of tennis balls, deuce and ace. Both deuce and ace balls consist of rubber, fabric cover, and other materials which can be regarded as immaterial. Sorry guys, this camera is just very distracting. Feliciwe? Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, just please make sure your camera is switched off, eh? Thank you. Just continuing with that, the International Tennis Foundation, ITF, requires that certain standards are met in order for tennis balls to get approved for use in tournaments. Juice balls are low compression balls, which is aimed at enhancing the enjoyment of the sport, as they are designed to play slower and thereby allow greater opportunity for players to rally. Ace balls are slightly harder, fast speed balls, which are intended for use on slower court surfaces. Immediately after manufacturing the tennis balls, they are sold to other companies who then test, grade, and pack the balls into pressurized tins or tubes, which maintain the ball pressure whilst stored. The activity-based costing system. The Chief Financial Officer is considering implementing an activity-based costing system, as this system recognizes the complexity of manufacturing and its multiple cost drivers. Guys, I really need to emphasize that you need to mute your mics. It's causing a lot of disturbance to all the students. Much appreciated. Thank you, guys. The total budgeted fixed manufacturing overhead costs for June 2016 amounted to 21,000 using machine hours as basis. So that is something that you want to highlight. Traditional approach. The manufacturing overheads were further analyzed for June 2016, and the following main activities and cost drivers were identified, as well as the manufacturing information for the same period. So here we have the activity, we have the cost driver, the thing that we would like to allocate that overhead using that driver. So we have the crushing and the extrusion of core compounds, adding glue, fabric covering, branding of balls, quality inspection. And then we have the total manufacturing overheads, the 21,000 that they spoke of. And then this is the analysis that they did per cost driver. Then they went further and they said the budgeted production volume. Budgeted production volume. They planned on making 860 deuce balls and 1,040 ace. Then they say the tennis balls manufactured per production run. So highlight per production run. Crushing and extrusion machine minutes per tennis ball. Tumbling machine minutes per tennis ball. Branding machine minutes per tennis ball. And quality inspection of units are performed as follows. Every 10th deuce ball and every 20th ace ball is inspected. The actual standard volume, the actual production volume for June 2016 was in line with the budgeted production figures. So it agreed. The standard requirements per tennis ball are as follows. We have direct material, the rubber, then we have the fabric, direct labor in minutes, overall machine time, minutes, the sales volume, number of balls, the selling price, direct raw material, the rubber, again the fabric, direct labor recovery rate per direct labor hour, and the variable overhead recovery rate. So these are the standard requirements per tennis ball, and these are the budgeted data for June 2016. So it's the important thing with management accounting, guys, you must put the information is given to you. You, in theory, you already know or should know what to use and what not to use, where to allocate the information that they're going to give you. So make sure that you highlight and make small notes next to what is given, so you don't get confused and by accident use the incorrect information to calculate the required. So they've given us the standards, they've given us the budgeted data, and now they're giving us the actual data. So here we have the actual sales volume, the sales volume, number of balls, and actual sales. We have the purchased and used direct raw material, the purchased and used direct raw material for fabric, the direct labor rate, the variable overhead rate, and the total fixed manufacturing overheads. July 2016 budget. June, now they say the July budget. The production manager has the following information available for July 2016. The budgeted units to be produced for July is 930 deuce and 260 ACE. The required minutes per product in terms of direct labor will remain the same as in June 2016. The contribution per deuce tennis ball will be 30 Rand and 36 cents, and the contribution per ace tennis ball will be 27 Rand and 62 cents. Okay. Let's read required A. We might not get to all the questions, but I would try and highlight the ones that I would really want to focus on. Let's look at A together. And I'm going to give you time to read and apply your mind, so that it's not just this is not a lecture. It's a participatory session. So you've read all the information now and you've analyzed it. So now let's read required A. Calculate the total budgeted manufacturing overheads allocated per product type for June 2016. Always remember, dates are very important. You need to know what they want and for when they want it. Using an activity-based costing technique to assign the manufacturing overhead cost. Round your activity rates to 2 decimal places. Round your final allocated amounts to the nearest rand. They tell you exactly what they want. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to start the question, to apply your mind on what is given, and then I will jump in again. If you want to ask a question, please unmute your mic and ask. I'm sure all students are interested in any question that can come from anyone. We are almost 60 students, so any question, there's a high chance, high probability that your question might benefit someone else. So please don't be afraid to ask a question. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes and then I'll be back. I am here if you want to ask a question. I'm just muting my mic.
But we probably shouldn't be like this forever. I shouldn't have used the shrink spell when I wasn't ready. Don't worry.
Guys, let's have a look at it together. So just reading the required again, they say, look at the budgeted manufacturing overhead. So first, let's allocate that amount. Or what amount are we talking about there? The 21,000. That is the budgeted amount. Cost management, the total budgeted fixed manufacturing overhead cost for June 2016 amounted to 21,000. Then they say, but now they want us to allocate it using the activity-based costing. So they've already given us a method on how to calculate it. Remember, activity-based costing says we don't just use the total, the traditional approach where we use one specific method of allocating overheads. We break overheads down into their various segments, their main activities that is making up that production overhead, and we are assigning a more relevant cost driver to each of those activities. So we need to go and apply that cost driver on the activity. So they've given us that amount, and they've now asked us to go and demonstrate what the split will be. If we use those cost drivers, what would the split be? What of the 21,000? What will go to the deuce and what the deuce ball, and what will go to the ace one? So let's have a look at that. Hope you guys can still see clearly. Guys, please, if you have a question, you are welcome to ask at any point. So let's look at the first item. So that's what you do. You want to do activities first. So the activity will be the ones that they list there. It's the crushing, it is the adding glue, it will be fabric covering, branding, and quality inspections. And then you can make a column for each one of them. So there's the ace. For crushing, they say the manufacturing overhead that's allocated. So give yourself a total column there. The total that needs to be allocated, or let's put it here. The total that needs to be allocated, because we are working with the budgeted, should add up to 5808. And we want to split it. Excuse me. Just excuse me for a minute. You want to split that 5808 between the two of them using a specific cost driver, that is the crushing and extrusion machine hours. So let's go see what those hours are. So there is that driver. So we have budgeted production volume tennis, that's tennis balls, and then the tennis ball manufactured per production run. Crushing and extrusion machine minutes per tennis ball. Minutes per tennis ball, machine hours. So that must be your first. You must realize how many are we, what's the time that we are going to be using here. So we budgeted the production for 860 for deuce and 1040 for ace, and we say that for each deuce ball we're going to have 12 minutes. Okay, so let's do it here. Let's say minutes per, or total minutes. So we have deuce and we have ace 12 minutes, and we produced 860. Guys, if I make a mistake and you guys see that I'm doing something wrong, you can correct me as well. Hey, I'm doing this real time with you. And they say there 18 minutes for ace. So 18, and we are producing 1040. So, okay, so that will equal that times that. We have total minutes of hours. Let's say that this is minutes. Let's say this is hours. So those are the total hours spent in production. So much for deuce and so much for ace. That is the total cost. And we are allocating per machine hour, that specific machine, that crushing and extrusion machine. So we have to say here for the one, it's going to be the 5808 divided by the 484 times 172. That amount divided by the total hours times only the hours for deuce. And for ace, going to work the same way. So it's a 5808 divided by 484 times 312. So it's that amount divided by the total hours times 312. And if I add these two together, they should give me 5808. Any questions? Good.
Thanks, Charles. In the required, they ask us to round up our activity rate to 2 decimals, and then the actual cost that we allocate to the specific activity to the nearest rand. So they want us to actually show that 172 divided by 484, Charles, and then apply that decimal to 2 decimals, that activity rate to the actual cost. So that's why I get a different amount for deuce and ace based on that, Charles.
Good. I just want to confirm something here. If I take that, I don't get decimal. There isn't any decimals applicable. I can be wrong. There aren't any decimals applicable to this.
But I mean, if you divide 172 by 484, there's a decimal activity rate, Charles, and that is your activity rate.
Okay, 100%. Yeah, I agree. But once you multiply it with the 5808, you should get a full number because let me just, I hear what you're saying. So let's say activity rate. Thanks for saying that, Kurt. I'm going to include that. So the activity rate is that times divided by the 484. So that's the decimals that Kurt is referring to. Same with this one. Am I right, Kurt?
Yes.
So if
I got 0.36 and 0.64.
100%. So you could have said as well, I will send you guys these notes afterwards, just remind me. You can say deuce is the 5808 times the activity rate. So that should, well, I suppose, should give you that times that. Should still give you that answer. Kurt, are you happy?
If you round that activity rate up of the 0.35, Charles,
Oh, okay, cool. Now I get you.
to 0.36, you get a bit of a different answer.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, so that's rounded now. So it's the 5808 times the 0.36. Okay, but on Excel it will give you another answer. So let's just say 0.36. You get that answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't know if the rest of the students agree with me in doing it in that way, but yeah.
Okay, to just Lamise also has got a question. Let me just see if his question might relate.
Hi, Charles. I want to know why you're using the hours instead of the minutes. Yeah.
No, actually, Lamise, to be honest with you, let me just calculate this one the right way. Otherwise, I'm going to leave that there because I already have an answer for you.
The activity rate.
Whether you use that, it doesn't really make a difference.
Okay.
If you want to use the minutes, okay, let me just do this. I want to answer you already, but I'm gonna forget to complete this part, and then I'm going to email it to everyone, and then everyone's going to be upset. Okay, so even if you use the minutes, let's say if you use the minutes, will give you the same answer. So you're still going to say it's the 5808 divided by the total minutes times the minutes that you actually used. But to answer your, so you can use it in your calculation, but what drove me to calculating the hours is the fact that the question, where's my question? The question says that the driver is machine hours, not minutes. So if you wanted to eventually go down to per product, it would have assisted you in working with the minutes. However, the hours would have sufficed as well. But since you're working with the total budget, you can use, well, I would say it's better to, just for sanity wise, to use the hours, since the actual driver is machine hours.
Okay.
But I think that actually just comes down to semantics.
Did you just show us how to do the hours, just the minutes for our own benefit, or do we have to do that if we get a similar question in the exam to show the minutes and the hours?
To be honest with you, it wouldn't have wasted my time that much. Me personally would have calculated that. You wouldn't have lost marks, I believe, if you just did that. So use the minutes. I don't think that would have been a problem.
Okay, and just one last question. Sorry, I don't want to keep everybody up. The activity rate, how did we get the 0.36?
Yes. So the question, Kurt followed the question there to the T, which is accurate because I say here, using the activity-based costing technique to assign, okay, so let me read it from the beginning. Calculate the total budgeted manufacturing overheads allocated per product type for June 2016 using an activity-based costing technique to assign the manufacturing overhead costs. Round your activity rates to 2 decimal places. Round your final allocated amounts to the nearest rand. So that is if it's activity rate, and I'm going to say there, rounded. So I'm going to color this just for your guys' reference. So that's what I used there.
No, I just want to know you got the activity rate as 0.36.
So you take the hours divided by the 484.
Okay, thank you.
Then round it. So I'm just going to say them. So that is the 172 divided by the 484. And that is the
Thank you.
312, 100%, Lemise. There's 312 divided by 484. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, sir, it's Rian here. So
Hi, Rian.
when you do it your way or Kurt's way, you times the 0.36 times 5808. Your answer will be 2090.88. You take the 0.64 times that by 5808, you get 3775.20. So when you add those two amounts, you get 5866. So there's a difference of 58 rand and 8 cents. Will that make a difference in the exam?
Not if you follow, because if I add those two items together, I still get 5808.
Okay, so you take 0.65 times 508. You get 377. 5.20.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And then you add the previous answer of 2090.88, which gives you 5866.08.
Okay, I'm not sure that. Okay, Rian, I'm happy with that. All I'm saying is that you can use the rounded, because that's what the required says. If there's then a difference, as long as you say that is rounded, you won't lose your marks.
Okay.
Because if I add those two together, I still get the 5808 if I use the activity, the rounded activity.
Charles?
So your final answer, you can round your final answer. So this one's final answer would be 2091, and this one would be 3717. And if I add that together, I get 5808. Yes, who said, Kurt, your hand was up, and then someone else spoke who I couldn't see who was speaking.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I think what's his name? Rian. I think I had something about 0.65. Maybe that's where he's getting everything wrong, not 0.64. Am I right, Rian?
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Because I rounded it off. If you see the fourth decimal is a 5.
No, but it's 0.644, not 0.645. Just double check it.
Yes, you're right. Yes, I rounded it off the 4 to 5. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, 100%. Do you still have a question? Kurt?
No, I also wanted to mention that I heard him say 0.65, Charles.
100%.
If you do that calculation of 312 divided by 484, rounded to 2 decimals, it's 0.64.
Yeah, 100%. Lemise, did you have another question?
I just forgot to lower my hand, sorry.
No problem.
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Hi, Wanda.
Yes, I got lost calculating the hours, how we get the 172 and 312.
So they say they take 12 minutes producing one ball. They made 160 balls, so it's 160 times 12. So a total minutes of 10,320 minutes. And there are 60 minutes in each hour. So if you divide the minutes by 60, you get the hours.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
100%, Wanda.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the adding the glue. Let me share, just minimize the screen again. Okay. So now we're gonna, sorry, to minimize that a bit. You guys can see everything. Just I'll make this a bit bigger. Okay, so let's go to the glue section. So adding the glue, there's a tumbling machine hours. So let's go to what they say here. Tumbling machine minutes per ball is 15 and 9. So we are exactly the same approach as we did with this and with this. So I'm literally just going to copy and paste. Okay. The total cost that we want to allocate is the tumbling machine hours is the 1484. So that changes to 1484. Okay, I'll change those descriptions now. Let's go to the minutes. So for the tennis balls or the tumbling machine hours, it's 15 for deuce. And it is 9 for ace. Production stays the same. That's the minutes, that's the hours. The activity rate, let's say the activity rate. The activity rate is the hours divided by the total hours. And we don't want any decimals.
Charles. Hi,
Yes.
Charles. I'm sorry to disturb. Did you remember to save this before you edit? Because you said you're going to share.
Makatani, who's asking? Who's Takalani?
Yes.
What did you say?
I'm asking, did you save the first page before you editing on it? Because you said
yes,
you're going to share that with us.
No,
okay. Copied and pasted.
It's still there. It's
right.
still there. Don't be nervous.
Sure.
Okay, cool. It's still there. I'm just working below it. Okay, so let me just quickly finish that one off. We don't want any decimals. I hope I did that right. Sorry, we want 2 decimals.
Charles?
Yes, who's speaking?
It's Mavis. I'm getting right now. I'm a bit lost. Please remind me, how do we get the hours?
Okay, guys, the hours we get by taking the minutes per ball times the number of balls that we made, and if you times that with if you times the minutes per balls, total balls, then you get the total minutes, 12,900. Then
no, the 12,000. No, I'm thinking about the hours, not the minutes actually.
Mavis, I'm getting there. 12,900. There is the minutes. Yes. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So you take this 12,900 divided by 60, and you get the number of hours.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
100%. 215 divided by 371, and that is the 156 divided by the 371. Guys, just please make sure that your mics are muted. There's lots of noises coming through this side. Okay, so there's that calculation. Is everybody happy with that? Is everybody happy with that calculation?
Hi, Charles.
Hi.
I'm a bit lost. Seems like I'm getting different calculations from everyone. For the first calculations that we did. I did 5808 to get the activity rate. I said 5808 divided by the 484. So I don't know if I was right to do that. Then I got 12, and then.
Are you now with the adding of the glue?
The first calculation that we did.
The crushing.
Yes.
Okay, what did you do?
To calculate the activity rate, I said 5808 divided by 484, and then I got 12, and then I multiplied the 12 by the 172 plus 12 times 3, 12, and then I got the 5808.
It doesn't sound wrong what you did. You should take the 5808 divided by the 484 times the 172, and then you get the 2064.
Okay.
So with adding the glue, I just want to change that amount. It's the 1484 divided by 371 times 215. And here we had the 1484 divided by the 371 times 156. And with the green part, we just took the 1484 and divided by the activity. I'll calculate that now. Okay, everybody happy with that answer? Zukisile, I see a hand. Okay, guys, I'm moving on. Then we have the fabric covering. So the fabric covering works with a number of production units. So the total fabric covering that we're going to be using, the cost that we want to allocate is the 3795. Okay. And now we need to go see what did we use? So fabric covering, number of production runs. Let's see how many production runs there were. Tennis balls manufactured per production run, so there are 20. So let's first calculate this. Production runs. So let's say the first heading is per run. We have the deuce one. I don't even know if I'm spelling this correctly anymore. Ace, 20, and 40. Okay. So that's per run. So the tennis balls manufactured per run. So how many runs were there? Production was 860 and 1040. So total runs will be the 860 divided by the 20, and the 26 will be the 1040 divided by the 40. Everybody happy with that? Okay, so they say fabric covering, the number of production runs. So that's the number of production runs. So let's get a total there. Kurt, did you break it down further? Anyone else?
No, I also got 69.
Okay. So we take the 3795 divided by 69 times 43. Everybody happy? Any questions? No questions.
Are we not using the activity rate? Are we not using as per the activity rate? Because using the activity rate, I got a way different answer.
Yes, Charles, sorry. I also used the activity rate further. The 43 divided by 69 and then rounded to 2 decimals.
So let's use the activity. So it is that divided by that. So let's just round that. Okay, let's do this. So that's the activity rounded. So I'm going to do it the same way as I did above, because there's no problem with it if you did it that way. 3795 divided by 69 times 43 times 26. That equals that amount divided by the total runs times the 26. That again will be the blue, which goes together with that. Now I'm going to do the activity. It's the 3795 times the activity rate. So it's the total cost for fabric covering times the activity rate. Same with ACE. It's the total cost times ACE's activity rate. And that we can round. We don't want any decimals. And that also gives you 3795.
Charles, which is the safe way to doing this?
Non-Tlantla, that's a very good question, and I will always go the conservative route, and the conservative route is the per activity, because that is what the required says. However, you wouldn't have been wrong if you did it per the total run, because the run is also the activity. You are just calculating it in one if you are doing it the blue way. The only reason why there's a difference between the blue and the green is because we are doing rounding. But if you did all of that in the same line, so let me show you this. So say for instance we said 3795, okay, times that divided by that. It would have given you that amount. So the only reason why there's a difference is because the required makes a statement where they say where they talk about the rounding specifically. They say round your final allocated amounts to the nearest round your activity rates to the 2 decimal places. So that gives me a hint that I must calculate the activity rate, and then I must round it to 2 decimals. So I would have gone and I would have been follow the more conservative route. I'm just showing you both, so that when the question doesn't state that, that is the shorter route that you can take, because the activity is taken into account there. So the one isn't not the activity rate. The only difference between the answer is the rounding. So don't see it as 2 different calculations. They are both the same calculations. The only reason why they are different is because the one is limited to 2 decimals, and that rounding results in this difference. So I'm showing you both just to show you there's no mathematical difference in calculation. The difference only comes in because we are rounding, and throwing away those 2 extra decimals or how many ever decimals because of the rounding results in a final answer that is different between the 2 calculations. But the mathematical calculation, the mathematical concept is exactly the same. Are you happy with that, Nonhlanhla?
Happy.
Okay. Yeah, guys, while I have the time there, please make sure that you've posted your student number. Remember, it's extremely important that we have your student number there. It helps us to do the attendance register. Rian, I've got your number and I will give it to Adele.
Thanks so much, sir. Thanks so much.
100%. Okay, so we've now done the crushing, we've done the adding the glue, we've done the fabric covering, and now we need to do the branding. Everybody happy so far? We will start with the second year question now. I just want to finish this part of this question, and then we will move on to that part of the question, the class. Is everybody happy with that? And as an answer to any second year students that have joined us, we will arrange an additional session over the weekend as well. So be on the lookout. Make sure that you look on your WhatsApps. There will be an additional class for the second year in case we don't spend as much time on it as well. Lemise.
Thank you. You can go through the rest of the questions at another time, or just send us the solutions, or because I'd really like to go through you to explain all of this so we get a better understanding.
No, 100%. So all I want to make you guys, we have limited time. I'm juggling the time as best as I can, but we will try and arrange classes as we can and as there are a need for it. So let's see how much we can do. But yes, let me answer your question. I will definitely send you guys the answers, my way of doing it, and then the memo if you want that as well.
Thank you.
100%. So let's quickly look at the branding. I'm going to move a bit quicker now. So if you guys have got questions, you can still ask, but I'm going to move the pace up a little bit. Okay, so the branding is the branding machine hours. Okay, branding machine minutes per tennis ball. I'm again going to use the same approach just to save us time. The same that I use with the adding of the glue. So it's not the calculation so much that I'm after, it's the principles that I want you guys to master. Okay, so the first thing here is the cost. They say the branding of the machine hours is 3,220. Just remember to mute your mic. 3220. Guys, please mute your mics.
Hi, Charles.
Hi, Mavis.
It's my on the branding. I see you've used the overheads for Temple machine 1484 instead of using 3220.
Now I'm going to use for branding. I'm going to use 3220.
Okay.
Guys, someone's mic is not on mute. Please, I'm asking you guys to please put your mic on mute, or I'll mute it on my side. Okay, 100%. Okay, so let's go back to branding. So they have the branding machine. So branding machine minutes per tennis ball is 3 and 3. We have the number of productions, the production total. That's the total minutes divided by 60. We get 43 and 52. Everybody happy with the 43 and 52? And there we have the activity rate as well. The activity rate will be the 43 divided by the 95, and it will be the 52 divided by the 95. So you will take the 3,220 divided by the 43 divided by the 95. If you follow the rounding method, you will again get, let me just pull that down. Where is that answer? Everybody happy with that activity rate? Okay. Any questions on this calculation? Okay, quality inspections. Quality inspections. They say number of inspections. So here they specify how many inspections take place. They say quality inspections of units are performed as follows: every 10th deuce ball and every 22nd ace ball. So it will, if you think about it, it will almost be the same as this production run that we had for the fabric covering. Okay, so I'm going to use that same calculation. So I'm just going to say the cost is the 6693, and I'm going to say so they say every 20th or 10th. I'll give a proper heading there now, but they say every 10th deuce ball will be inspected and every 20th ace ball will be inspected. So if there was 860 balls produced, 86 would have been inspected, and if there were 1,040 balls produced of ace, 52 would have been inspected. You guys happy with that? So what heading can we give this that you guys will remember it? Let's say inspection point. So that's the inspection point. Production. That will be total inspections. And then the activity. Okay. Okay. The 9.5. Everybody happy with that allocation? I tried to do that very quickly so we can get to some of the other questions. Is everybody happy with the interpretation on how we did that? Okay. Nhlanhla, are you happy?
Yes, I am. I just have a question.
Yes.
If I just want to broaden the question name. If the question had said per unit, per product type per unit, like was it going to be safe to just get the total machine hours divided by with the cost, then multiplied by say for crashing, we said we have 0.02 hours, right?
Yeah.
0.2 hours per product. Was it going to be safe if, okay, we can just go there.
Because I'm at crashing. Just explain that to me.
Then if now we are allocating the overheads per product type, right?
Yeah.
If it had said per product type per unit.
So give me your calculation. What would you have done then?
Okay, with the total hours of 484.
Yeah.
The total cost of 585. I was gonna say 5808 divided by 484. Get the total per hour.
Yeah.
Then multiply the cost. Get the cost per hour. Then multiply the cost per hour with the minutes or the hours allocated per unit as per our information. We were given machine minutes per tennis ball.
But remember, then you will get the per unit cost. So now we want to
check there.
That's the question.
To say if you have to calculate the cost per product, then you would go down to that level, and you will only multiply it with what was used. So per hour, you would have said the per hour is the 12 divided by 60, and that the times the cost, and that would have given you the per ball cost.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was my. I understand now. We want per product allocation. So my question was, if it per unit allocation, was it safe for me to use that total cost allocation divided by the total hours multiplied by the hours per tennis ball?
100%. Kurt, do you have a question there on Nhlanhla's question?
She is 100% right, Charles. The calculation in the green is incorrect. The activity rate is actually determined by using the total cost divided by the total cost driver, so the 484 in that case, and then whatever amount you get there, you times by the specific hours applicable to the specific product, which is deuce and ace. It's not, must I repeat that?
No,
So your
Kurt,
activity rate,
yeah, sorry.
so your activity rate is calculated by using the total cost applicable to the activity divided by the total of the cost driver that you are using, which will give you activity rate per cost driver. And then you should calculate that, use that amount and times it by the actual, say, amount of the cost driver applicable to that specific product. In this case, it's hours. If you are following me, Charles.
Yeah, I'm 100%. And the hours is definitely accurate, and that's why we're not working with the minutes as well as the previous question stated.
Yes.
But just to highlight, what we did in the green isn't wrong per se. The only thing that makes it not matching the blue is the fact that we are rounding. We are rounding at a different point than I believe we should. But I've done the green in any case so that you guys can see that the mathematical calculation, if you followed the question, is still exactly the same. It's only where you the rounding that makes this make the answers different. That's the only. There's no your principles are still the same. The way you apply it is everything is the same. You just round at a different stage, and that gives a different answer. Are you happy with that, Kurt? Non-Plantla?
Happy, Charles.
Happy.
Okay, 100%. Guys, then let's quickly just, so that's the first part of the question. What I would like to do is just quickly focus on C, D, and E. But just in an explanation manner, and then the rest of the question we can do in an additional session.
Charles, before you pass on, if I may ask, the inspection points, where did you get the inspection points from for the production runs? Did you get my question, Charles?
Yes, Mavis, if you look on the screen,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, 100%. If you look on the screen on page 26, it says the quality inspection of units are performed as follows, and then it gives the inspection point every 10th deuce ball and every 20th ace ball.
Oh, okay, I see. Thank you.
You happy with that?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, 100%. Okay, guys, then let's move on to the part. I would really like to just quickly have a look at part C at least. Part C and D. Let's say C and D. Then I would like to do a second tier question as well. So C says calculate the sales price variance per product and in total. So per product and in total. Okay, so let's do deuce quickly. So I'm just going to say, so this is part A. Let's quickly do part C. So let's look at deuce. Okay, so they say the sales price variance. Okay, so what was the, let's look at the the prices that we were given. So when we are doing variances, standard costing, we want to compare the standard, which was used in budgeting, versus the actual. So we're looking at actual and standard. Then we get a variance. Okay. So what is the actual? This is the selling price. The actual selling price, if we go to the budget, this is budgeted data, actual data, sales volume. So there's the sales volume and there's the sales, actual sales. So that would be, if I'm not mistaken, unless they don't, did they say it at some point? I'm reading this very quickly now. So it will be the 33,540 divided by the 860. 33,540 divided by 860. So that's the 39 Rand. We said the budget or the standard, we have the standard and we have the where do you write the standard? Quickly just check here. Guys can maybe just have a look here. Okay, so we have the selling. Okay, there it is. Sorry, misread it. Got it. It's the 40 Rand. It's the budget. So it's the standard. Then we get a difference. Difference is 1 Rand. What was the, let's say, the actual sales? Volume was 860. So the actual price was 1 Rand less than the standard. So our variance will be the difference times, will be the difference times the actual sales, and that will be an unfavorable variance. Everybody happy with that?
Is it not favorable? Because actual, it's, oh, sorry, it's a selling price. Yeah, I get it.
You happy, Takalani?
Yes, I'm happy.
Same for Ace. His actual selling price will be 39,520 divided by 1040, which I get there. 39,520 divided by 1040. So that's 38. His actual selling price is 35. What was the actual? Sorry, I'm taking a wrong figure here. Yeah, 1040. So there we get a favorable variance. Let me just fix my signs here that it makes more sense. Actual minus the 40 gives me -1. That's unfavorable. And that equals that minus that gives me a favorable balance. Everybody happy with that? Okay, guys, I'm going to leave this question here. We will have an additional session. I'm not promising anything, but I'm planning an additional session for over the weekend. So let's leave it at planning. If I can ask you guys just to, I'm going to continue with the second year question. So you're all welcome to stay. It's the same principles that you must know for standard costing in any case. So it will be practice if you are third year. But just a reminding, let's say an inspection point.
Charles,
please make sure.
Sorry.
Yes, Lemise?
I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just have a question. When you do the sales variance, I know they ask per product. Would you not add ACE and DUC's sales revenue together and do it, or do you need to do it separately? Because I came across a question like this and I had to do both of it together, even though they're asking per product.
No, you're right, because I think this question did ask variance per product and total. Okay, you're right. They did ask for it in total. So in total, apologies. Total will be I actually made my borders incorrect. Plus the 312. So the two variances added together will give me a total variance of favorable. Thanks, Lemise.
You're welcome.
The question did ask per product and then also separate. Per product and then total. So just at an inspection point, make sure that you've copied you've typed your student number in the chat section. Please, guys, that is really very important at this stage. And then please remember to do the session evaluation form before you leave the meeting. I would really appreciate that. Guys, I'm just quickly going to unshare and just save this so that we can continue with it. Okay, save that one. Just want to put the other question on. Okay, let me share the screen. So guys, just another reminder to please post your student number in the chat section. We are now starting with the second year question, but I don't think it will be, I think it will actually be in your favor if you make sure that you understand these basic principles as well. There's going to be lots of interaction in this session as we try and finish the question before the end, before past. Okay, let's quickly read through the question. But if you're in the exam, let's focus on the required quickly. We know we're busy with standard costing. That is the topic for the evening, but you must make sure that you in the exam that you know what part of your information, your study guide you are busy with, so that you can put your mind in the right state to read and take in from the question what you must. So the required is calculate the following variances. So you immediately are going into standard costing mode. B is calculate the actual labor hours worked during March, and then calculate actual cost price per meter. So we know there's lots of variances and calculations involved in this short piece of information. I hope you guys can all see clearly. Bellina Limited manufactures a single product and uses standard costing system. The standard variable cost per product is as follows. We've got direct material, direct labor, variable manufacturing overheads, variable selling and administrative overheads, budgeted selling price per product, and the following are the actual results for March 2014, in which 20,000 products were manufactured and sold. So here we have the actual. Okay, we've got the sales amounted to that amount, 1.2 million. The total cost of material purchased was 292,500 at R3.75 per meter, and all the material was used to manufacture the 20,000 units. So no closing stock, everything was used. There were no opening or closing. The total labor cost was 253,500 at a rate of R7.80 per hour. Variable manufacturing overheads, 68,250, and variable selling and administrative overheads, 118,000. The first question, I would like you guys to calculate, and I'm going to leave you with for 5 minutes to calculate it for me. Material purchase price variance and the material quantity variance. Guys, I'm going to emphasize what I said in the previous standard costing class. If you are currently trying to remember the formulas, you are doing it wrong. Make sure that you understand the formulas, understand the logic behind the formula, then you don't have to remember it. Then it is logic. It makes sense. So if you are studying it to remember it, you are going about it in the wrong way. So exam technique there, or exam preparation technique, understand the formula, then you don't have to remember it. So if you have why questions in your mind on those formulas, make sure they get answered before the exam. Then you don't have to remember all these formulas. So please, number 1 and number 2 for 5 minutes. Okay, guys, let's quickly have a look. Material price variance. You must immediately see the formula in your head. Remember, we are looking at actual quantity at actual price, and then actual quantity at standard price. So what are we comparing? Actual quantity against actual quantity. But we are comparing the actual price with the standard price. Because we are comparing, we are looking at the price. So we want to see the difference between the actual and the standard. Okay, so we are going to say it is the actual quantity at the actual price. Okay, and we're going to compare that to the actual quantity, but at the standard price. So when we are looking at the price variance, we want to keep our quantities the same because we are comparing the prices. So that must make logic. You don't have to remember it again. If you look at the price variance, you want to see the standard versus the actual. So the standard versus the actual. So let's look at this. Look at that. So they tell us that if you look at if you look at the standard 0.1, they give us a direct material is 4 meters. It's 4 meters at R3.50 per meter. So that's we have the standard price is R3.50 a meter. So we have the R3.50. Correct? Do we have the actual quantity? Yeah, the actual quantity. Do we have the actual meters that was used?
But we can calculate it from
100%.
the material purchased.
100%, Adeline. 100%. This part they've given to us. It's given. If you look at part 3, the second bullet, the total cost of material purchased was 29,500, and then the question explains there that there are no opening and no closing stock. So they've used all that material. In other words, everything that was produced, they've used all that material. So the total cost is already the actual quantity times the actual price. So it's 292,500. 292,500. Does that make sense? Why we're not multiplying in anything or in anything there? It's given. But we can calculate the actual quantity. So the actual quantity equals the 292,500 divided by the per meter price that they are giving there, the R3.75, and that gives us
It gives us 78,000.
And then that amount we can now immediately use there. That's supposed to be an arrow. That as well. Times R3.50. And what do I get if I multiply that?
273,000.
And I'm comparing these two amounts. So the variance, in other words, if we look at the comparison, we're saying that we were expecting to pay that, but we actually paid that. So is it a favorable or an unfavorable variance?
Unfavorable.
Unfavorable balance of how much?
19,500.
100%. Everybody happy with that? So
Yes.
we look at the price. We are comparing the actual price versus the standard price. Now we're going to go to the usage variance, the quantity variance. Okay, so point 2 is the material quantity variance. I don't need to remember the formula because I want to know how much did I use and how much should I have used. In other words, I'm going to keep on using the standard price. The price will stay the same this time, but the quantities will differ. So here we will have the actual quantity times the standard price. And I will compare that with the standard quantity times the standard price. Everybody happy with that? So we already know what we calculated the actual quantity above. We calculated it at 78,000. So that 78,000 we can actually use there. So it's 78,000 times the standard price. The standard price is R3.50 a meter. They're under 0.1. So R3.50 per meter. If I multiply that, what do I get?
It's 273,000.
This side, standard quantity, standard price. How many meters should I have used? What is my standard quantity? My standard quantity says I'm using 4 meters per unit. And then they say we manufactured 20,000 units.
180,000.
So the 20,000 times divided by 4 meters per unit gives me not divide. Why am I dividing? Apologies for that.
Multiply 80,000.
Multiply. Yeah. 80,000. Okay, so that's my standard quantity, and that I must use here. So it's 80,000 at my standard price of R3.50, and that equals
7,000 favorable. The total.
So that gives me 280,000, and I need to compare these two amounts, and that gives me if you look at it, I thought I actually only used this, and I thought I was going to use that. So I used less than what I anticipated. So that is a
favorable.
Why? Because
we used less than we thought we'll use.
budgeted. Okay. Everybody happy? So that is the third point. Let's go to the fourth one. There they ask us to calculate the labor rate variance and the labor efficiency variance. So the labor rate variance is again a price variance, and the labor efficiency variance is also a usage or a quantity variance. Okay, guys, please remember to, I'm going to keep on saying this and remind you to please not forget to type in your student numbers and to please complete the session evaluation form. It's also in the chat section. There's a link. If you scroll up and up and up, you will eventually get to a session evaluation link. Okay, the third bullet. They say it's the labor rate variance. Okay, so there we want to compare the actual rate and the S-curve.
You can finish the question, then I'll ask my question, Charles.
100%. So we have the actual rate on this side, and on this side we have the standard rate. And we keep what the same? The actual hours.
Quantity. Yeah.
Yes, quantity. It's the same. Okay. So what is the first one? If you look at the third bullet under the point 3, the actual information, they say the total labor cost was 253,500. So this part is again given. It is 253,500. 253,500. Okay, at a rate of R7.80. On the other side, so if we have to calculate the actual hours, it is the 253,500 divided by R7.80. What does that give me?
$32,500.
100%. And that I will use in this calculation. So here I will apply the actual hours, the standard rate. So the standard rate there at the top says it's direct labor is R8 per hour. So R8 times 32,500. And that equals?
Sorry, sir. Where did you get 780 from?
In the given information point number 3, the third bullet.
Oh, I got it. Thank you. They're at the bottom. Yes, thank you.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so R8 times 32,500 gives me 260,000 hours. So it cost me this. I expected it would cost me that. No, other way around. I expected it will cost me 260,000, but it actually ended up costing me 253,000. So the variance equals 6,500.
Yes.
And it's a favorable variance.
Standard.
I think let's do the last one for the evening. And we will also continue with the question. So it's point number 4.
Charles,
And
can
this
I
is
ask
the
a question?
yes, Kurt.
In the calculation of these variances, when it's a price variance, you use your actual units or hours related to the variance that you calculate, Charles. When it's a
Yes.
usage and a quantity variance, you use your standard rate or price to calculate that variance.
Correct.
Happy. I'm doing exactly what we said I shouldn't do, Charles, in remembering formulas.
Yeah, that really helps a lot, because if you compare the price and all most of these variances up until you get to the part where you have your mixed variances and those variances, you are working with how much did I pay per unit and how much did I use per unit. So if you want to compare how much I paid per unit versus how much I thought I would pay per unit, then I want to use the standard rate, the actual quantity against the actual rate, and the standard quantity against the actual rate. In other words, I'm keeping my rates. I changed the rates. If you look at this loss on the labor rate, I change the rates. That's the one I'm changing. In other words, what you are comparing is an indication of what should change. The other one needs to stay constant. So if I compare the rate, my rates must change. I want to compare my actual rate against my standard rate. But to do that, something needs to stay constant. So whenever I do a rate or a price, the rate and the price will change. But the actual hours or the actual quantity will stay constant. Whenever I do an efficiency variance, like I'm going to do now, the labor efficiency variance, there I'm talking about the efficiency. So there I'm saying that my usage should stay the same. And the other part, my usage, sorry, I'm talking nonsense. No, sorry, Kurt. My usage is the one that needs to change. That's the one I want to compare now. And the previous one was the price. I want to compare the price. So I want to see different prices. There must be a base that doesn't change, and it's the actual base. With efficiency, it's the efficiency that changes. How many are used per product, per standard, and how many are used actually. But I keep the price the same, and I keep the price at the standard price or the standard rate.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, I have the actual hours times the standard rate, and I keep the rate the same, but I change the hours. I go over to the standard hour, standard hours times the standard rate. So here, if I look at the actual and the standard rate, I already have the hours. I calculated it here at the top, so I can just say that's where I get it. So it's the 32,500 times the standard rate, which we said was 8 Rand in the previous question, and that equals that amount. And then we say we have the standard hours, which we still have to calculate, but we know it's going to be at 8 Rand. We know our production was, let's say production was 20,000 units. And there at point 1, we said direct labor is 1.5 hours per product. So times 1.5 will give us the answer. So if I do that quickly, I get 30 hours, 30,000 hours. And that's the one that needs to go there. And if I multiply that, I get 240,000 hours. And that answer, 32,508. And then the variance. So, in other words, I actually used this, but I budgeted to only use that. So that's an unfavorable balance of 20,000. So the variance equals 20,000 and it's unfavorable. Everybody happy with that? Okay, guys, I don't have too much time for questions as I have to run to another session. I'm going to post the WhatsApp number in the chat section for those of you that want to send me your name and module code to that number, and I'll add you to the relevant WhatsApp group. So I'm just going to post it quickly there. Please send name and module code to. Okay. I posted it in the chat section. Guys, if I can ask you a big favor, please remember to post your student number and also to please complete the evaluation form before you leave. I would really appreciate that. %. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Charles, in
Yes,
that
Andrika.
WhatsApp group that you're talking about, is it not the one that is restricted? Is it the one that we can chat? Because if you want, I can see that we don't have time for questions. If I still have questions to ask, what platform I can use?
Okay, so the reason why, okay, so that WhatsApp group is limited for chats only by the admins. It's only because there's over 200 students already on that WhatsApp group. So you guys can imagine if there's suddenly chats breaking out, you guys are going to get messages all over the time. You are more than welcome to send me a question directly, and I will be able to either answer that directly in that WhatsApp or in another group session. We can address that question.
Okay.
Okay, 100%. Thanks, guys. You have been an awesome crowd. Send me your details and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. And remember the one-on-one session for Western Cape students. Please ask me for the link and I'll provide the link for you to log a query. And for those that I do not see in the next session, have a lovely evening.
Which session are you going to now?
Thank you.
Charles?
I'm going to AUE 3702, auditing.
Oh, okay. When are you doing FAC 2602?
Thursday evening.
Okay, I'll send you a WhatsApp. I need a link for that.
Thanks, Takalani.
Charles, do you also do 1601 in AUE?
Say again?
Do you do AUE 1601 also, or you only doing
3701.
In 16, you're not?
No, I do AUE only third year level, 3701 and 3702.
Okay.
100%. Guys, I must leave, unfortunately. And have a lovely evening, and then I'll see you guys again.
Thank you.
Charles.
Bye-bye, guys.
Charles.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.